Like there's a heaviness that you feel when you have decided, okay, this is it, I am done. Like life is way too heavy. I was homeless in the United States. Having been abandoned by the little family I had there, I went crazy. Like, who's not going to go crazy in those conditions? All right, I have my guns. I'm just gonna go. Where am I? Am I in prison? Like, what the heck is going on? They're treating me like the scum of the earth. It was the toughest time of my life. I've never seen such a tough time. Because I give off this energy of like I'm a strong, independent woman. I also didn't allow anyone to see how much I was hurting. People would just like leech off my energy, and I'm always a good fighter. But you see, when people are leeching and leeching and leeching, no one is pouring into you, you run out, you run on empty. Looking at these art pieces right now, and I made all of them. Yeah, I'm a visual artist. I guess I forgot to say, and like also this, I made it myself. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nyambura. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing my makeup in this video. I'm not a pro makeup artist, but I'm a big fan of Miss Jackie. And the story she tells us when she's doing her makeup, and also it's gonna help with my anxiety. I swallowed 2 pills as per my doctor's instructions. We're gonna go deep into all of this. Don't get ahead of yourself, Naomi. And this is the final part, the final installation of my 3-part suicide survival story. So if you've not watched part 1 and 2, you should go ahead and watch them, because I've been suicidal 3 different times in my life. The most recent, this happened in 2021 to 2022. And I've not even talked to a therapist about this. What happened? It started off with me graduating college. I graduated Vanderbilt University, class of 2021, with a BSc in mechanical engineering. My hair wants to be let out. My hair will be let out. And I really had a lot of fun at Vanderbilt. You should watch part 2 if you haven't. So I did what everyone told me, right? I got a mechanical engineering degree. I graduated. Vanderbilt is one of the toughest universities in the US. So like I tell Americans I went to Vanderbilt and I have a mechanical engineering degree, and they're like, wow. Yeah, that's how tough it was. And I think my senior year, I should say this, I'm a great engineer. So my team was the most diverse team on campus in the School of Engineering, and every senior has to do a senior design project. So like everyone comes together and then they brainstorm those projects that you work with local stakeholders. Ours was Root Nashville. We were working with Root Nashville, and they plant trees all around Nashville, the city. And it's a non-profit, and their problem was when they plant the trees keep on dying because they don't know how to take care of them. There's a lot of things that need to happen for a seedling to grow, and like almost half of the seedlings were not growing. So what they asked us to do is to create a censoring monitoring system for them. So we created a soil moisture sensor. I'll put pictures here if I can find them. And you put it in the ground. It's solar powered, so it runs on its own, and then it like takes that data from the sensors in the ground and transmits them through radio waves to the offices, the Root Nashville offices. So then all they needed to do is look at a spreadsheet. So there's a spreadsheet version, but then we also use Tableau, which is like a mapping software. And then you can click on it and see the soil moisture levels at that point. And then we put it on we calibrated it from like 0 to 100. So then they could see if it's like below 30, we need to go send someone to go and water it, and just like streamline their processes. Such a great project. We ended up presenting to the external mechanical engineering advisory board. We were presenting with postgrads, like people who are pursuing a master's in engineering. So you see how huge of a deal this was. I'm a great engineer. I don't practice, but I'm a really good engineer. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on with the story. So you see, I have all these things on my portfolio. So when I'm graduating, I'm like, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm a hella great one at as well. So I'm gonna, like, jobs are gonna be looking for me. So all of 2021, all I was doing was looking for jobs. The difficult part begins, so we start doing makeup. All of 2021, I was just looking for a job beginning January, because my workload, so you get to choose what classes you want to take at Vanderbilt, and my workload was very little. that year. So all I was doing, like applying to jobs, is like a third. It's like another class. It's a whole other class on its own. Please don't even ask me what I'm doing. If you have questions about that, I can show you the palette. But like, I also got it onto boys. You see, I'm getting distracted because I don't want to talk about this part. It was so tough. Like, there's nothing I didn't do for the job search. So you see, I'm starting in January. People are starting and immediately they get jobs, and everyone was like, but it's just because you're an international student. Give it time, everything will be okay. Bro, I gave it time. I gave it all the time in the world. Even by the time I was graduating, I still didn't have a job. Everyone, like, we start looking for jobs together, and they get their jobs and I don't get mine. And now, hindsight is 2020. My heart wasn't in it. I had always wanted to graduate and move back home immediately. Even that January, I was home and I had been telling people that, like, what's the plan after I graduate? I'm like, I'm moving back home. I don't want jokes. I'll be back. But that didn't end up happening, unfortunately. Maybe I should use this one because it has better lighting than what I have on my my mirror is dark. So that didn't happen. Everyone I knew who wanted a job was getting a job except me, including people I was at equity with. But all of them are working for Amazon and Microsoft. Like, I'm not even comparing myself with the Americans now. Right now, I'm comparing myself with the Kenyans that I went with, because I also understand that work permits are also like another problem. So they're getting jobs at Microsoft and Amazon, and some of them are even getting laid off and they get other ones. I'm like, Kwani, see, I'm here. What the fuck? Why am I not getting anything? So this went on after I graduated. So after graduating, I moved to Seattle. I'm living with my aunt and her daughter, my cousin. And every day my aunt is asking me, did you get a job today? I used to leave the house. I was not comfortable in that house at all. I used to leave the house and go to Starbucks. Luckily, I had like a little bit of savings during this time. So I'd like take the bus. The public transit is also really great. And go to Starbucks and spend all day. Like, I have a 9 to 5, but this time it's just looking for jobs. There's nothing I didn't do for this job search. But you see, like, my aunt is keeping on asking me, like, I love her to death. Like, she's not with us anymore. So, like, to death doesn't make sense. I love her infinitely. I still believe that she's with me even now. But she also had her own, like, beliefs about what work should be and everything. Me not having a job and just hanging out was unacceptable in her eyes. She didn't see, though, that I was trying my best. To her, looking for a job is calling people and talking to people, but like, she was of that generation. I'm like, I'm doing everything. Anytime you see me on my phone, on my laptop, or the iPad, I am looking for jobs. But she didn't understand that. So then that just made this really difficult time even more difficult. And I've run out of my medication supply because my psychiatrist and my therapist are at Vanderbilt. I don't have enough money to pay for those specialists outside of Vanderbilt because they're incredibly expensive. Oh my god, mental health is so expensive in the US. So you see, I'm also running low on my supply of antidepressants. I'm telling you, this 2021, after like the excitement of graduation ended, so I'm thinking from June, it was the toughest time of my life. I've never seen such a tough time. I was suicidal literally almost every day. And the only saving grace was like plant medicine, if you know, you know. And then like my aunt lived near a lake, so I'd go to the lake and just be there and cry. When I'm not at Starbucks applying for jobs, I'm like at the lake just crying and, you know, just being with my emotions, my feet in the water, chilling with the turtles. I can say, like, anytime I'm by the water and there's turtles in the water, even whether I know there's turtles or not, they usually just come and find me. So this is a theme that, like, you know, the fishies and the turtles were keeping me company because I was completely by myself. I mean, my mom was living with my aunt too, but the mother wound is gonna be the video for another day. So I remember one of my good friends used to call me and be like, where you at? What are you doing? Send me your location right now. Anytime I hinted that, you know, I'm done with this. And I'm super, super grateful for that friend. We're not in contact anymore, but that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate the things that they did for me, right? And I was just so sad. I remember this is the first time I consulted a psychic. And the psychic was like, every relationship in your life is unbalanced right now. You keep on pouring out to people who aren't pouring back to you. Because I give off this energy of like, I'm a strong, independent woman. I also didn't allow anyone to see how much I was hurting. Because being brought up in an African household, feelings are evil. Like, no one cares about your feelings. The people who did I give you instructions and did you follow them? That's all that matters. Feelings, none of our business. Yeah, I'm putting up this front for all the people I'm living with. I'm at the psychics. And she's telling me all your relationships are unbalanced. You need to leave that house that you're living in right now. Go somewhere else. And, you know, like, get yourself together. Because you can't get yourself together here. Like, I didn't have any boundaries. Like, you know, people will just like leech off my energy, and I'm always a good friend. But you see, when people are leeching and leeching and leeching, no one is pouring into you, you run out, you run on empty. Like, no matter how much I was trying to go to the lake and refill my cup was always like, it had holes. So my sister, who lives in Austin, ended up coming to Seattle for like a weekend or something, just to visit, because I was there, my mom is there, my aunt and my cousin were there, like, you know, most of our family was there. So she's like, you know what, I'm feeling FOMO, so let me come. And I think in my family we all have that traveling gene. If we want to go somewhere, we're going. Doesn't matter what's going on around us. So she left my cousin, not my cousin, my niece, Michelle, and came. And I think she came the weekend, this very same weekend that the psychic had told me to leave that household. And like, we even tried opening up my heart chakra with her, and she was like, it's not opening. It's not opening because, you know, your spirit guides are like, no, not in this house. Not in this. I mean, it wasn't a house, it was an apartment. So I had to leave, right? So I left and I went to Austin with my sister, and you know, I was having a good time. I think this was about July, and then like end of July, beginning of August, like things started to look up. Like, I'm not even lying. I ended up going on a trip to Vegas with it was my cousin's birthday. My cousin who lives in Seattle. So she brought her girlfriends to Vegas. And we had a good time. I was the baby. And like, I was broke, but everything I was doing was on someone else's dime. Like, best trip of my life. I've never gone on a trip where I'm doing things and it's not on my dime. Using humor to deflect from the pain, Naomi. I see you. Well, I'm at Vegas. I get an email telling me that I've finally gotten a job, and it was with Grid Alternatives, which is amazing. It was the company I wanted to work for. So for context, I wasn't looking for jobs in mechanical engineering. Those ones would have been easy to find. I wanted a job in climate. So Grid Alternatives was just everything. They provide free solar panels to communities, poor communities in the US. So while I was in the US, I did a lot of service trips, but that's a story for another day. But there's a lot of poor people in the US for sure. And I was gonna be based in Colorado. So when I'm coming back from Vegas, I'm just excited. I know I am going from, you know, I'll be in Austin for 1 more month before September 9th. I start my job at Grid Alternatives. And you see, I'm so excited because it's everything that I wanted. And I'm like, it's about time. It's finally about time, because I've been looking for this job for way too long. It wasn't even a full job. It was gonna be a fellowship, an 11-month contract. And I was like, you know, still super pumped about it. I was looking for apartments in Colorado. I was not sleeping, just researching things for my, you know, my new place, because this would be my first place ever. So I was preparing for move number 3 from Austin to Colorado. And I have everything set up. I've even been talking to landlords and everything. But while I was in Seattle, I had applied for my work permit. At first, I thought that I needed to have a job to be able to apply for it. But then they told me that I don't need a job. I can just apply. And on the day that I am supposed so I've been checking my work permit, because I need to have my work permit before I start working. I've been checking for my work permit this whole time. And when I applied, they told me to take 3 months. So for this new job that I'm getting, they asked me, do you have a work permit? I said yeah, I do, because it's been approved and it's gonna take 3 months to get here. And like, the processing time, I think I was supposed to finish processing on like September 7th, and then I was supposed to start on September 9th. Do you know it didn't process? It didn't go through. And at this point, I was just like, that's it, fuck it. What's the point of living anymore? I've given this job search everything that I can, and now it's something out of my control that's stopping me from doing this. Like, you know? So I ended up on Tuesday. I was supposed to start my job, and I hop on the and then I'm looking on ICE, and they say now that my work permit is going to take 6 months to be processed. And you see, this fellowship is an 11th month fellowship. It's going to take 6 months. So that means I'll only be available to do it for 5 months. So when this happened, I was just like, you know what, it's okay. I'll send back everything. Like, you know, I resign. I can't start because without this, like, I'd be working illegally, and I don't want to put you in that situation. Again, none of them responded to me. They do good work, but how you treat like the international students, because this was a really heartbreaking process for me, and they didn't even like do anything. This was happening on a Tuesday. On Monday, I received a like scam email from someone telling me that they had all of my credential, of all of my details. They were going to release like my naked pictures to the internet. And I'm just like, first of all, what even naked pictures? I'm smarter than that. I don't have pictures of me naked anywhere on the internet. But just to be safe, they told me they had my bank details, they had everything. So I freaked out. I was very freaked out, because this is money that's about to come in on Tuesday, and you're telling me you have all this information. So I was already in a very anxious space when this breaking happens. I broke. I lost all zeal for life. I was not sleeping. I was not eating. I was not interacting with anyone. First week of September, oh my God, I became a zombie, and I'm not even lying. And my sister saw it, and she became so worried. She works in the healthcare system, so she understands, like, she sees the signs of depression. So she got worried, and she was calling people, and she's like, my sister is very depressed and she needs help. She needs help right now. And everyone was referring to her to some places. Where is that noise even coming from? I'm home alone. She ended up taking me to a place, a facility in Austin that was private. I don't remember what it's called right now, but I kept those documents because I said I was gonna sue them. And like, when she's doing this, she thinks she's doing it out of love. So she takes me on a Friday night. She told me to pack my bags to go. I was like, chill. Like, honestly, I don't even care about life anymore. Whatever you want to do. And she takes me there, and they take my temperature, and I think I was anxious, so my temperature was high. They were like, we can't admit you, because this was COVID time. They were like, you need to come, go get a COVID test done, and come back when it's negative. So we went home Friday night, and then Saturday morning we woke up in a like private ER, which was like super expensive, and we were asking for a COVID test. And then the doctor does like the basics, like takes my temperature, and he was like, she's okay, she doesn't even need a COVID test. So we went back. I think that should have been the first sign, like, that's not a good place, we shouldn't go back. Like, you know, the universe was sending signals. But again, I was too out of it to care. My sister was too in it to let it go. And I love her for it. But she took me there, and even before they admitted me, she left. She was just like, now she's gotten help, now I can rest. So she left and like went to do her job things. Well, there they took me to a room, and they asked me to leave everything behind. I had brought my books, I brought my coloring books, because it's not round one in anxiety. They treat me like shit. They locked me in this small room by myself, very tiny, literally like, 6 by 6 feet, my height. Like, I could lie down and get to the next, without any walls, without any windows, and without seeing anyone. No trees, no nothing. I was just in there by myself. And then like, I talked to a psychiatrist, someone on the phone. I don't even know who it was. I talked to someone on the phone, and they were like, yeah, you need to be admitted. So they were like, okay, we're going to admit you, but we don't have empty beds now. So what do? They tell me to wait in that room all, like, all day until they can find a room, and they're calling around to find rooms. And bro, I think I was there for 6 to 8 hours. I didn't even have a watch to know what time it was. I went crazy. Like, who's not going to go crazy in those conditions? First of all, I started with just like crying in the corner, curled up by myself. And I have claustrophobia from this experience. Like, I can't stay in a small room without at least a window or a door open. Even lifts, just, I was crying on the ground by myself. I finished the pack of tissues it put there. I pressed a button, because they usually have buttons if you need help. I pressed the button, and no one was coming. I could hear people walking past my door, but not a single one was coming. And then I was like, I am way too anxious right now. So I started walking, pacing the hall. I paced here and there and then, and I'm walking by people who call themselves professionals in the mental health space, but none of them even stopped to talk to me and ask me what was going on. Not even a single one. See how crazy this is? I'm like, where am I? Am I in prison? Like, what the heck is going on? They're treating me like the scum of the earth. And then when nothing of this was happening, I just got angry. And I started banging on doors, and I was like, let me out. I've never banged on doors before. You see, when I went in there, I was so depressed. I didn't even have motivation to do anything. All my emotions were just like completely like nothing. It was like, that's how I felt about life. My heart was still beating, but and then now they tell it that I'm screaming and banging on doors. You see how bad this experience was. I call my mom and I'm telling her what has happened to me. And then one thing that's consistent about my mom, anytime I'm low, she will jump on the opportunity to stomp on me some more. I don't know why. I've never understood it. We'll talk about it more in the mother wound. But you see, I'm reaching out to her, and like my day has just been insane and I've been crying all day. And I asked her, Mom, if I never spoke to you again, would you judge me? Like, would you even, would you be angry at me? And she had no response. She literally had no response. Which is why I told her then, unless you go to therapy, I'm not having a relationship with you. And that's where we are right now. I don't have a relationship with her. Because she lied to me that she was going to therapy, but she wasn't. I have compassion. She has her own childhood trauma. But that doesn't mean you rub off your trauma on me. Like, fix your shit first. And she's always been doing that all my life. So you see, even this is not even helping, man. Anyway, they told me I needed to talk to the police, and the police would let me out. And I'm about to start crying now. My eyes feel itchy. I was like, bring the police, I'll talk to them. And the police talked to me, and they're like, yeah, we can sign for you to go. But you see even how fucked up that system is. Like, what does a police officer know about mental health? Like, I'm a danger to myself. Why are you giving the responsibility on the police officer? It's just a fucked up. Texas, you need to fix your mental health system. And then I'm calling my sister, and she's refusing to pick up my calls. I told her I'm coming home to come pick me up. She refused to come pick me up. Hindsight is 2020, and I understand that she just wanted me to get help. But you see how everyone all day has just been abandoning me. How can I not be angry about this? Like, my patience is so fucking thin right now, So I got my Uber, and I got home, and I find her there. And she starts to apologize. She's like, oh, I was busy, they called me to work. It's just some BS excuses. I've not even forgiven her yet for this, because it gets worse. I told her, so if you do this again, I'm going to pack my bags and leave. If you pull a stint like this again, I'm packing my bags and leaving, because I don't feel safe here. And she was like, okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, so this is Saturday. And then I'm back to zombie mode, and she opens up to her neighbor about everything that's going on with me. And her neighbor is a social worker. She's like, I can give you, so she calls me and she's like, I understand what's going on. You don't even have to open up to me, but here's some plant medicine. Enjoy, and like, hopefully it gives you some relief. And it did, but again, my brain was not functioning as it should. So I was, using it in my sister's guest room, and she smelt it, and she came to ask me about it. And honestly, I didn't give a fuck about what she was saying at this point. I'm done with life. What do you want to do? Like, she didn't even tell me what she was going to do. So I'm just chilling in the room. I've stopped smoking. I've like sprayed, because it's disrespectful. I had an 8-year-old niece. It's disrespectful. I understand that, and I apologize for that. But what she did next was wrong. 11 p.m. Next thing I know, there's 2 policemen at my door. She didn't even warn me that she called them. She didn't even warn me that they were at the door, so I prepare myself. No, it's the policeman who opened the door. I'm not even kidding. I think I have a picture somewhere, because I was like, I have to take a picture of this, because this is insane. I feel like I'm living in a movie. My sister called the police on me. I'm a black woman in the United States, in specifically Texas. And my sister is calling the police on me. Like, do you not care about me? Like, what the heck? Anyway, the police came and they're like,
we don't even care about what what you've been using. Like, we just want to know that you're okay. This is just a wellness
I
checkup.
was like, yeah, I'm good. And luckily they found me after I had done some, little personal tantric massage. Literally, my vibrator was under my blanket when they walked in. I just pulled my blanket up. I had just finished. So yeah, they found me in a good mood and they're like, she's okay, like don't worry about it. My sister did not talk to me after they left. You see how badly she handled this? Like, sure, you care about me, but like also, how are you going about showing that you care about me? How do you call the police and then once they leave, you switch off all the lights and you enter your room and you go to bed? I was like, Fiti, okay, all right. I packed all my bags and left that night. I was leaving at 1 a.m. None of them knew where I was going. Even I didn't know where I was going. I had met someone. Shout out to you, Yata. He hosted me. I met him on Tinder. I've been going on a couple of dates, and I was like very happy. Anytime I was with him. So he comes and picks me up at 1 a.m. And I'm just telling him everything that happened is like,
fuck them, cut them off. You don't need them. You don't need any of your family.
Because I've told him what's happened with my mom and what's happened with my sister. And this time I'm crying, I'm sobbing. It's like, fuck them, you don't need them. So anyway, this begins my journey of homelessness.
I was homeless in the United States, having been abandoned by the little family I had there.
So I knew no one. At this point, I'm like, Roadrunner. I don't know. I've never watched Roadrunner. Well, those cowboys who have been hurt by people and they're like, all right, I have my guns. I'm just gonna go. I mean, I didn't have that energy to do that because I was very depressed. But I was like, okay, I hear you. Anyway, I go to Yata's place and then I start making some calls. Like, you can stay here for as long as you need to. But I was like, I don't know you. I just met you last week. I don't want to be a burden to you. Because depression convinces you that you're a burden. So I called one of the people who helped me throughout Vanderbilt and I was like, this is going on. Can you please, can I please stay with you for a bit? And I was like, but I understand that you have a child because you had a 3-month-old child. And I was like, I understand you have a child so you don't even have to. I explained everything that's happened. She's like, no, we got you. Come. They even got me the flight ticket. All I had to do was show up at the airport. Yeah. Now I'm moving. So moved from Nashville to Seattle to Austin. Now I'm moving from Austin back to Nashville because that's where my pastor friend lived. And there I stayed with them for 3 weeks and it was an amazing 3 weeks. Like, if you remember this time, I even made the YouTube videos about everything that was going on. I think I deleted them because I needed to go underground for a bit. And I told the story. And then while I'm in Nashville, my aunt dies. The aunt who was asking me all these questions about when you're going to get a job and all that pressure. The aunt who also, my mom lives in her house. And you see, I've cut my mom off. So I didn't even end up going to the memorial service or the funeral because I was going through it. And I sat down with myself and I asked myself, how can I even pour from an empty cup? My cup is so empty. There's no way I'm going to go and become this strong person that my family has expected me to be in this condition. There's no way. There's just no way that's gonna happen. So yeah, her death was tough, but I remember my pastor friend lived in a very nice location, so I walked to Plato's Closet, which is a thrift store, and I got a little ring that I lost somewhere in all the moves that I made because I moved so much this time of my life. 12 on the clock. And I was like, I'm gonna wear this ring to remind me that she's always with me, because death is not an ending, it's just a transition. If you've lost someone who means the world to you, they're still very much here with you. And this is calling out to me. It says, you're not hiding anymore by me. That's what I call the piece. In tarot tradition, this is the equivalent of 10 of Pentacles. And on the back it says, to love is to find yourself and another person. I don't know whose quote this is, but I like it. So usually I've hung them up in my room. And then I had a really good time with my pastor friend and her family. But again, she had a 3-month-old baby and she still had a full-time job, and she didn't have help at home. So just me being there became a lot for her, and she was like, I have to take care of myself, I have to, you know, fill my cup first. So unfortunately, I'm gonna ask you to leave. And this is 3 weeks of me being here. But you see, I'm already depressed, so anyone asking me to leave is just confirming the thought I have in my head. I'm a burden and people don't want me around. Anyway, she was like, if you find another place, we'll figure out a way to get you there. So I went, talked to my friend Arita. Shout out to Arita, Stephanie Arita. We used to be best friends in high school, and then she came through for me in 2021 when everything was going to shit. And she was like, yeah, you can definitely come and live with us. We don't have a lot of space, but you're more than welcome. So I moved to West Texas. Beautiful, beautiful place. And like the sunsets were amazing. I think I'll put like some clips here and there, and it was such a good time. Except her mom reminded me so much of my mom. And this is when I learned that I had PTSD. African mothers, when they're angry, they raise their voices. It's not like individual or personal to her, but it was triggering the shit out of me. I was getting like panic attacks, and like PTSD was being triggered. So I had to leave. I was there for 3 weeks, and during this time, my family has tried to reach back out, and they're using someone else, and they're telling this person, tell her that we'll, like, you know, rent for her, like, if she wants her own apartment here, tell her we'll rent it for her, but we want her to come back home. And at this point, I start getting excited as well, like, yo, my family, you know, they're finally getting their shit together and they want me back. But turns out the renting an apartment for you was just they disappeared. When I found apartments and I was talking to landlords, and I was like, okay, I'm coming this weekend to talk to these landlords, all communication was withdrawn. They didn't want me to live by myself. They wanted me back on their own terms. And I was like, you know what, fuck you, I've survived this long, I'll survive without you. So I called my friend Ayo. Yeah, there's no need to protect her. I called my friend Ayo during this time, and I was like crying. She made me promise when I was at Vanderbilt that before I performed any actions specifically suicidal, because that's what I was just done with life. She was like, make sure you call me. So I call her one night, and I'm crying, and I'm like, I don't see myself making it through the night. I don't want to be here anymore. And she's like, no, don't worry, come and be with me, come and live with me. I have space, I have a 1 bedroom. And for context, I had hosted her before. I had hosted her during summer of 2020 when I had a 2 bedroom, and like I think she'd stayed for a month or something. So she's like, you hosted me before when I needed it, so I'll gladly host you. I was like, Ayo, you promised that you won't kick me out, because if you kick me out, I'm not gonna be able to handle it. And she's like, yeah, not a problem at all. So I'm in West Texas. I'm moving now to Durham, North Carolina, because that's where Ayo is, and she's invited me, and I've made it very clear, Ayo, if you kick me out in any way whatsoever, I'm not going to be able to handle it. It's just like, no, how could I do that? Anyway, I get on a plane, I figure out a way to pay for the plane ticket. My friend Josephine comes in really handy, Josephine Wanjiku, and I get there. And on the plane there, I remember we were in the clouds for a while, and the song that kept playing in my head was, it is well with my soul, it is well with my soul. And that's usually a funeral song, so I should have, I should have been like, some shit is coming here. But I didn't see it. Durham. So since I got homeless, I've moved from Austin. Homelessness is not just sleeping on the streets, it's also like couch surfing, which is what I was doing. So I've moved from Nashville to West Texas. Now I'm in Durham. This is the third and final place before I come back home. And Durham was tough. Oh my god, it was tough. Because even though Ayo had welcomed me with open arms, when I got there, it changed and became a different story. So I'm like, I can sense people's energies, and I sense that she didn't like me being in her energy. So anytime she was at home, I would leave. And anytime, yeah. like she was a student. She was a student at Duke. I don't know if she finished her MBA. So I could sense that she didn't like me being around. So I made, like, I did everything that I possibly could to be the best roommate. I was cooking for her, I was cleaning, I was like taking up as little space as possible, because you see, I'm depressed already. I know that I'm a burden. Like, no one wants me around in the first place, but Io was the last option. And like, if Io wants me, then at least one person wants me, so I can stick around, right? I stay with her for about 3 weeks before even she eventually kicks me out. And she kicked me out end of November, and the worst part was, she's Nigerian, Ayomide. She was going to Nigeria all of December to spend December with her family. So, I mean, she was still going to be paying rent for her apartment. I was like, if you don't want me around, can I at least stay while you're gone, and I'll figure something out while you're gone. In January, you won't find me here. And she said she wasn't comfortable with that. Do you see how fucking selfish that is? And that's not the African way. It's just, honestly, I still don't understand. If you're watching this, like, reach out and tell me. Don't reach out, I cut you off. Comment maybe below and tell me what the fuck was going on. Because she said no. Like, you're paying for an apartment that's gonna be empty, and I'm just asking to be here while you're gone, and you're saying no. Like, I wouldn't even do that to my worst enemy, knowing that I don't have any other option. I came here because I had no other options. Anyway, when she said this, I was like, okay. When she refused completely, I was like, okay, cool. So I decided I'm gonna go have my final meal, and yeah, that's it. That's gonna be the end of my life. So I asked her to pay for it, which she did. It was like $10, and I ate good. Like, you want your final meal to be a nice meal. As I'm eating, I text my brother Sam, and I'm like, Sam, whatever happens, just know that I love you so much. And then he tells me, you're scaring me. And I remember this moment was like, it finally hit me. Ending my life is very selfish. I didn't come here just for me. I came here especially for my brothers. I couldn't, like, throughout my life, I have always protected my brothers. They're younger than me, 4 and 6, from the BS that my parents have always had going. I couldn't leave them to fend for themselves like I did, because I know how wounded I am. Like, I'm a wounded warrior. So yeah, in the moment, it was like, stop it. Stop your foolishness. Get your shit together and be there for your brothers. So I mastered the little courage that I had, the little strength that I had, and I got on a bus. So I didn't have any money. I just left. Like, I was going to get a meal, and then I was going to find blood all over her apartment. I wasn't even guilty about that. Like, you brought me here. You deal with my blood and my dead body. Luckily, we didn't get to that point. But luckily also Durham during COVID had free bus rides. Like, you didn't have to pay anything. So I mastered all my strength, and I went, and I was waiting for the bus, and I was crying. Like, there's a heaviness that you feel when you have decided, okay, this is it, I am done. Like life is way too heavy. None of them even shot me a smile. This is how, like, I just realized that this is not the place. This is not my home. I don't want to be around people like this. Anyway, I go, and then the place I ended up was a detox center, and detox centers are mostly for drug addicts who have been collected by the police, or who brought themselves there, or brought by their family. And then, like, you're connected to, like, what is it called? You're under observation, essentially. Like, they're taking your blood pressure all the fucking time. They're taking, like, your temperature just to make sure you're okay. So this is where I landed, and then people were literally watching me sleep. So I went from no one caring about me at all to people watching me sleep. I was like, I'm not comfortable here, so they put me in the room, and there was a lot of older men too. I was like, I'm not comfortable here, so they put me in a room, but I couldn't close the door. They had to watch me, but I was also very happy, because remember, I have developed claustrophobia from Austin, this facility in Austin. I don't even remember what the name of what this place was, but it literally saved my life. So when they're done, when they're like, okay, you're under observation enough and you're good, you move to a second place now. They took me to the rehabilitation center, and now we're like, okay, so what do we do? Because I can't be here longer than 7 days. So they connected me with resources of housing. And then they referred me to something called Oxford Houses. Oxford Houses are like for people like me, but mostly addicts who end up in this like crisis centers that are run by a non-profit. So I think you pay like $100 a week for rent or something like that. But then there's also grants that exist to help you. So when I left, I didn't even end up paying any rent at all. And literally my angels just carrying me like this. And another beautiful thing about being at an Oxford house is they have very strict structures. Recovery needs very strong structures. So they're like from 9 to 5, you have to be out of the house looking for a job. You're not here to just like play around. And then also you need to go to an NA, Narcotics Anonymous, or Alcoholics Anonymous meeting 3 times a week. For someone who's depressed like me, must say it was just taking everything out of me to leave the house by 9 and to come back at 5. Everything. I had what? But then I wasn't even going far. But it was also winter, so you're chasing me away. I don't know anyone around here. Like, where the fuck am I even going, you know? But they ended up, like, it would have been much worse if that didn't happen. So now I'm at the Oxford house. You know, Ayo didn't even like come to see where I was going. When I went back, she filed a police report to ease her guilt when I didn't come back. And I was being told by the people at DRCC that, you know, someone has filed a police report. So when I went and they were like, you need transport, we'll sort you with transport. I was like, don't worry about it. I got my transport. So I got on the bus and I went back to Ayo's, and she's like, where were you? I'm like, I went to this crisis center. I wanted to kill myself, and they helped me get out of that space. And I packed my bags and I asked her if she could take me to the Oxford house, the place I was going to, and she said no. And again, I'm just so confused. Am I your enemy? Like, I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy. Why are you doing these things to me? She said she had an exam. But like, you see, that exam doesn't matter now. This is 2 years later, and it still hurts me. It still hurts me that she chose to study for her exam over taking me to. So I was leaving Durham and going to Chapel Hill, but it wasn't even longer than 30 minutes. It would have been just maximum an hour of her time. And she said no. So I went to the Oxford house by myself. I was like, okay, so I'm on my own now, because I was my last option from my community, and now she's acting like this. Okay, I'm on my own. So these things are happening, and then I ended up, you see, in the hands of people who know what it's like to be abandoned by their entire community. Their family and their friends want nothing to do with them, which is so unfortunate that that's how we treat addicts in our society. And they couldn't even understand that my community doesn't want me because I don't have a job and I don't have money. But how is your community just letting you go because you don't have money? Money! Don't worry, we got you. Just come here. And it was just such a nice community. That's where I learned about the Serenity Prayer, which is like right behind here. It says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And they also used to say a lot, and like today I had a eureka moment of what it meant. They used to say, easy does it. That's what the name of this piece is. Like, it's written over here. The screen is mirrored, so you can't see very well. But it says easy does it. I didn't understand what that meant, but easy makes the impossible possible. So I found a community that was easy, and they weren't trying to push anything on me. They used to say, like, whatever God you choose to believe in, we don't care about that. We're just here for each other because we know what it's like to not have anyone. And oh my God, like the song in my head is like, take me to church, I'll worship like a dog, you know? For the first time in my life, I have a community based on nothing but just me. Like, other things are like, I was at Vanderbilt, so people were my friends because I was also at Vanderbilt, or I was at Equity, so they were my friends because of that. This is the first time people outside of my family want to hang out with me just for me. I don't even have anything to offer them. I'm a Taurus. I'm a giver. That's just what I do. This time I have nothing to offer you, and you're still loving me, and you remember my name, and you want to hear my story, and you want to buy me lunch? What? That's what church should be. That's really what church should be. I hate that Now church has become, you need to worship this God like this. These are the rules you need to follow. A, B, C, D. Read your Bible, pray every day. Don't cheat, don't lie, don't do this, don't do that. But that's not what God is about. The addicts showed me God more than anyone else in my life ever has. And that's speaking a lot because I grew up in church. My dad is a pastor. None of those people showed me God the way those addicts did. None. And they just held me, and I was, finally I was in a place where I could start healing and get out of survival mode. It was rough. I was crying almost every session. People are sharing their stories, and they're not even sharing it. Like, this is what you should do, and this is what you should do. They're like, I remember that one time when I don't know what happened to me. Like, I keep secrets. If you tell me a secret, I promise I'll forget it. So I can't even remember what the stories that people were saying. But like, I shared my story, and they were like, yeah, that happened to me too, in this and this and this way. And I want to cry when I think about it. It's just, I want to be an AA meeting for everyone I meet. And I know how fucked up that sounds, because everyone has this misconception of addicts are like this, addicts are like that, this, that, and the other. No. Addicts will love you more than anyone else has ever loved you. Christmas Day 2021, we decided that, you know what, we're going to throw a little Christmas party for us, and we're having a good time, and people brought their boyfriends. I think there was 4 of us at the house at this point, and two people brought their boyfriends. And I think Christmas was like on a Wednesday. I'm telling you, that Sunday I was so sick. I woke up and every part of me was hurting. And I was just like, I must have woken up in the wrong reality. So I went back to bed. And I slept all day Sunday. I only woke up at like 3 a.m. to go get water because my head was hurting. It was like, those really bad headaches. And then I mentioned to someone, like, yo, I'm feeling so sick. And at this point, I had my room to myself. So then when we have regular meetings, and when it went around that I was feeling sick, and like another one of my roommates was feeling sick as well, they're like, you all need to go get tested for COVID. So I went and got tested for COVID the Tuesday after the Sunday. Right now, so Sunday and Monday were the toughest days for COVID for me because I ended up testing positive. But even then, like, it was very serious, and like you had to, 14 days isolation period and everything. So when I'm depressed like this and I'm not even on my medication, remember, am I on my medication at this point? I don't even remember. It's just been on and off. It's not been consistent because I don't have a consistent mental health professional, medical provider. So I just got so sad. I went back to the depths of the depths when in isolation for 14 days. I was watching SVU, Law and Order SVU Special Victims Unit. Love it. Olivia Benton took me through those times. But even then, like, when I'm not watching SVU, all of my sadness just comes back. So SVU was distracting me from the pain. And like, if you're at that place where you feel like you need a distraction, that's okay. That's not a problem. It's not like tearing something down. It's just like, I can't concentrate on you right now, so I'm going to concentrate on you. And when you're ready to concentrate on you, you will know, and you can come back and deal with it. So there's distraction, and there's the other one starts with like a C. I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, it's the one for dealing with the problem now head on. But you can't deal. So emotions come in waves, and like, you can be at the top of the wave. At the top of the wave, you need to distract yourself. You can't be dealing with those tough emotions. But then when like the wave is dying down, now when you can come back and deal with those emotions, because again, emotions come in waves. So after the 14 days of isolation, I couldn't even see anyone. They were putting food outside my door. I pick it from the stool and I bring it back. I think I'm an ambivert because I need my solitude time, but I also need people to be a functioning human being. I used to call myself an introvert, but ambivert works more because I need both. I can't do, like, being with people drains me, so I need to recharge by myself. But then also being with people is a need. Community is a need for every one of us human beings. And I really enjoy being around people. But again, I need to go and recharge. Doing business in a war zone. That's the email that just came in. I don't know what that means. So after the 14 days, I go back to my NA meeting. And I open up to one of my friends, Chandra. And I'm like, Chandra, I don't want to live. I still don't want to live. Especially after I remember crying on my way to the NA meeting because it was a walk uphill. And I'm just like, if this is life, I don't want it. If this is all life is, I don't want it. And she was like, yeah, like, let's just take you to the ER and like refill your medication. I was like, Chandra, I cannot be hospitalized again. I've been by myself, I can't be hospitalized again. She's like, we don't have to go to the ER for you to be hospitalized. You're just going so that they refill your medication, because I was out. And luckily, Chandra also suffers from, like, she was also on medication, and she knows how dangerous it is to not be on medication. And I think I opened up that I wasn't on medication. So anyway, we go to the ER, and this one was a completely different experience. The mental health services in North Carolina are chef's kiss. So I go in there and they take my vitals, and then I tell them what's going on, and they're like, okay. And they say that they can't prescribe medication to someone who just walked in. They have to like at least observe you for a few days. So then I go into observation again, and I guess they saw that this girl needs more help. So they were like, if you're down for it, because they were bringing like a therapist and a psychiatrist, like people are coming to talk to me multiple times a day. And they were like, if you're down for it, I think you need to go to the mental health ward. And I think this is 3 days into my stay there. And I was like, you know what? I mean, okay, if you're going to help me and you've been very nice and I like the food here, okay, I don't like the food where I'm going because I have to cook for myself. So then I went to the ward. I think it was on the 10th floor, and there I stayed 10 more days. And like, that's where I got all the help I needed. I mean, I still need a lot of help. I still need to talk to a therapist because I'm feeling a lot of pain, and I have a headache right now because I'm refusing to cry. I am a Taurus. If I'm not crying, I'm not crying. But it was just we had an occupational therapist, a recreational therapist. Like, we had so many different types of therapists. We were meeting a panel of doctors. Like, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, I heard that they have the best mental health services in the country, and I can agree. Every morning we are meeting with a panel of doctors, and then like there's a chaplain who's coming to hang out with us. We're doing art here and there. We're doing like group therapy, and honestly I prefer group therapy to individual therapy, because with group therapy you might not see something yourself, but something that you've experienced, someone else will see, and you're like, yeah, I can relate, and then the therapy addresses it. So it's like therapy times 10, you know, because usually you get out of therapy what you put in it, and if other people are putting it into it, it's better. So yeah, we had group therapy. Did we have also individual therapy? I think so. And like, I'm on medications, and the nurses are really nice, and it was just such a healing experience. And then like, despite seeing a panel of doctors, everyone gets assigned a specific doctor on the panel. So when it was time to discharge me, my doctor started coming to talk to me and be like, what's the plan? What's the plan for discharge? And I was like, I don't remember her name right now. If I'm not moving back home, I might as well stay in this hospital forever, because I'm not living in the US. So then luckily my doctor was also a Chinese international student, so she knew how to do like, you know, WhatsApp over continents, and like looking at time zones and everything. So she used to call my dad and be like, I don't know what more they talked about, but I remember her being very stern about, if you do not bring your daughter home, if you don't pay for a flight ticket home, you're gonna lose her. And my dad, this whole time these things have been happening, my dad has been in Kenya. I think he also came to the US and tried to fix things, but he couldn't reach me. And then immediately after he lands, he hears that I've been admitted in hospital. A psych ward. What? But yeah, I think she educated him, and he was willing to learn. Like, now we're even fighting over the fact that I'm not taking my medication anymore. I'm not on antidepressants anymore, but he doesn't understand. He's like, the doctor told me you have to be taking them. Why are you not taking them? I'm worried. Yeah. In North Carolina, I found angels. I guess that's why I was feeling like, you know, that it is well with my soul when I was going there, because there I found all the help that I needed to leave that country and come back home. So anytime anyone asks me, why did you leave that country? I'm like, that country almost killed me. I mean, now I don't want to die. Now I'm very happy. I'm home. My heart is home. I'm with my family. It's my OG friends who don't care about what I have. They just want to be my friends. And I've been meeting more and more people through the journey of business. So I'm much, much happier here. But it also took me all of 2022 to recover from everything that had happened in 2021. And then I relaunched my business November of 2022, but that's a whole other story. But it feels like 2022 was my year of metamorphosis. Like, you know, when a caterpillar is transforming into a butterfly, it needs to be in a cocoon and everything is broken down, and like it's a very painful process, and then it emerges as a butterfly. So yeah, December of 2022, my butterfly season began. And you know, I'm just like flying high from here. I can't wait. Like, the sky's the limit. I can't wait to see where this goes. I know that, you know, those toughest of times prepare you for the best of times. So don't feel compassion for me. I mean, you can feel compassion, but I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. I practice gratitude every day. I've not practiced for the past 2 days. It's been busy. But I can't let go of my practice. That's my antidepressant. That's my dose. Please support my small business. Going back to business. Like, comment. Liking it makes sure that more people are watching this video. Commenting also helps with the algorithm, and like, let me know if you know where I can, you know, find an NA or AA meeting around. I would be happy to attend if it's an open one, because sometimes they're closed and they're open. Open are for everyone, and closed are just for addicts, recovering addicts. And subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel. This was a tough video, but I tried to like induce some humor here and there. But like, you know, sometimes you just have to accept that things are tough. We just needed to get my story out there so you know where I'm coming from. And then you see that when I'm speaking about things, I'm speaking from experience. And thank you. If you've watched part 1, 2, and 3, thank you so much for being here. You can share if you want to. That's on you. And you can also comment if you want to. I know I spoke about a lot of heavy things, but also I want to find people who've been through the same thing that I've been through, so we can create a community. So if you want to be part of my community, please comment down below. And yeah, see you soon. I really appreciate that you watched until the end. Like, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful. Thank you. All right, I'm going now. Bye.
I didn't even stop wearing this makeup. Look at this with my lipstick. Because I'm feeling intense emotions right now. I'm feeling it. You feeling it? No, no, no. I'm feeling it. You feeling it? No, no, no. Okay, so lipstick. I'm taking a break. I'm distracting myself. Because I don't want to current camera. So you see that? It's purple. I told you the lighting has gone to shit. But yeah, I'll be taking breaks like this when I start to feel the emotions becoming intense. Anyway, I'm almost done with this story. This is much longer than it needed to be.